What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Classic Chronicles. And on this episode, after 36 years, the juice is loose once again, and it is my spoiler-free review of Beetlejuice, and the crazy travel story that went along with me seeing the film. But before we get into all of that, let's take a look at the trailer.
Daylight come and we want to go. Come, Mr. Tallyman, tally me banana. Daylight come and we want to go. Me say day, me say day, me say day, me say day, me say day.
The juice is loose.
Alright, now let's get into the crazy travel story that went along with me seeing Beetlejuice, man. So, got the opportunity to see this last Wednesday, August 28th, man. And this was very, very last minute. I didn't get the tickets the morning of, and with it being last minute, I wasn't able to schedule my ride that I usually get to and from these screenings. But no big deal. So I mapped it out on the bus. I mapped the route out on the bus like I normally would if I'm traveling somewhere that I've never been before. But yeah, all does not the best laid plans go awry. So what ended up happening was I took the first two buses to get into the city, no problem. When I got on the east side, no problem, and then the upper east side, no problem, and then my next goal was to get to the upper west side where the movie theater was. The movie theater was right down the street from Lincoln Center, so I had to get to the west side of New York City. Those of us who live in New York City, they dub it the most accessible city in the world, meaning you're able to pretty much get it anywhere, anytime, very easily. But again, for those of us who live here, we can tell you that is total bullshit. Anyway. Between delays and construction and all the other crap that goes on here. Anyway, that's another story for another time. But so I look and I end up on East 60th Street, which is where I'm supposed to catch the final bus to take me around the Central Park Loop and drop me off by Lincoln Center and just roll over to the theater. Easy enough, right? But no, none of the buses that I was told to take on the app on my phone are in reach of where I need to be. So okay, now time to figure out another alternative to get where I need to get. And so I called my friend Jessica, and she tells me that even though she lives in Manhattan, she's not familiar with that particular area, which is okay because sometimes even though you live in a borough, you don't know how to get everywhere in the borough, which happens to everybody. But fine. Okay, so I'm like, okay, let me figure this out. So I finally get to the beginning of the Central Park Loop, which leads you to the west side of town. I did not know that there is a bus there that there is a bus that takes you across the loop and leaves you right on the west side 2 blocks from the movie theater where I need to go. So I, so so me not knowing that there's a bus, had to figure out how to get there. So I'm like, okay, I got a vehicle. Let me drive this thing. Let me ride. Is a nice day, even though it was 95 degrees out and sunny. The sun is beating down on you, and you kind of humid out there. But hey, you know what? What the hell? It's summer in New York City. It doesn't matter. But so I not knowing, I've been driven on the Central Park Loop hundreds of times in a vehicle, man. And when you're in a vehicle, of course, the distance is a lot shorter than it actually is when you're not in a vehicle. So and that pathway to on the Central Park Loop is not made for pedestrians. The walkways are very, very narrow, and there's very, very little room for error, especially if you got a motorized wheelchair or not. So you definitely got to be careful when you're navigating the Central Park Loop, not in a vehicle, because there is vehicle traffic on all sides. So definitely got to be careful with that. But I made it, and shout out to my friend Jessica for checking up on me the whole time. And it was funny because going home, shout out to my sisters, Crystal, Nikki, and Christina, and our other friends, Sue, Keith, and Bridget, for making sure that I got home okay. Everybody was worried about me as I took the long journey back home to from the theater. Movie ended about 9 o'clock, and I didn't end up getting home until maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, because late at night, if you don't live in New York City, the buses don't run, or any public transportation doesn't run, for that matter, good late at night. After a certain time, things start to slow, and then if the bus or train that you're taking is already slow, it just makes for a terrible commute. But I got home around 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was extremely exhausted, but this was well worth it, man. Now that we got that crazy travel story out of the way, let's finally get to what you have been waiting for, and that is my thoughts on Beetlejuice. Now, man, it's so good to see Michael Keaton back to reprising his role as the iconic character Beetlejuice, man. And also you have Winona Ryder reprising her role as Lydia Dietz, as well as newcomers Jenna Ortega, William Dafoe, and Danny DeVito was also in the film. William Dafoe plays like he's an actor, but he was an actor playing a cop in his past life, I guess you would call it. So that was pretty cool to see that role, and he takes his role very, very seriously. So it's kind of breaking the fourth wall, essentially. But and then Jenna Ortega, of course, playing Lydia Dietz's daughter, Astria Dietz, the bratty teenager daughter who resents her mother, but I seem to notice a pattern with Jenna Ortega's roles, man. She kind of plays the bratty person in all the movies that she's in, and I just hope that she doesn't get typecasted. But she did do a good job playing the role that she of Astria, and of course, Monica Bellucci also was in this film. She played Dolores, the undead soul sucker, Beetlejuice's ex-wife, and the plot of it basically goes like this. So the Dietz family is dealing with a tragedy, and So Lydia, who is I believe she's a psychic medium, if I remember correctly. She's a TV star now. Got a stupid ditz of a husband. You know, but what do you call it? I mean, of a boyfriend that's trying to become her husband, I should say, Rory. But yeah, so after that tragedy happens, the Dietz family must go back to the original house that she occupied with her with her original husband, uh, and clean it out. And but little do they know that Beetlejuice is lurking in the shadows, and they need Beetlejuice's help to deal with what what they have to deal with. And but Beetlejuice has his own problems in the form of his ex-wife, who is trying to steal him back and spend eternity with him in the afterlife. Also, major shout out to Bob, and if you see the film, you will know who I'm talking about. Definitely, Bob was amazing in that film. But yeah, no, it's great to see Michael Keaton back reprising his role, and you know, all the usual Beetlejuice stick. If you are a fan of the original, you will definitely love this one. You know, Beetlejuice retains all his signature lines. You know, the juice is loose and it's showtime and all that good stuff. And yeah, so definitely go check it out. And they at the screening they gave out these really cool hats, these really cool trucker hats, with Beetlejuice's hair attached to them, and so I was wearing that throughout the whole movie. And yeah, that was really cool. Oh shit, excuse me. So yeah, definitely go see Beetlejuice in theaters this Friday, September 6th. And I will probably go see it again after it officially hits theaters. And I just thought it was really good. You know, but yeah. So that is gonna do it for this episode of the Classic Chronicles. Like, subscribe, share. Don't forget to hit that notification button so you don't miss a video. And I, of course, will see you guys on the next one. Peace.